Okay, we're back.
It's not Maddie.
You're so embarrassing. Right, so just to recap then. So we've got millimetres set, we're trying to figure out how many is in each one. So to go through what you were thinking. So if there's 1 centimetre, okay, by 1 centimetre gives you 1 square centimetre. So it's a centimetre with dimensions 1 and 1, right? And we've got to build that up. So if we find the area of a shape, we are figuring out how many square centimetres will fill that shape, okay? If that's the unit we choose to use. So for instance, if I was going to measure your table, I would do it in square centimetres because they fit nicely on your table. The question then is, how many square centimetres fit into a square metre? So for instance, let's have a quick look because you were discussing this and I think you've all come to the right conclusion. Maybe I can use the small squares. Okay, so what would a square metre look like? So if I say, well, this here is like 1 square centimetre, how many of them would I need? So I would need, in this direction, 100 of them, yeah? Because that would make the metre. Does that make sense? But then, if I then built up, I need a square metre. So not only do I need 100 in that direction, I need 100 in this direction as well. So I would have 100 in a line, and then I would have 100 of those lines. So in 1 square metre, I would have 100 square centimetres times 100. Yeah? So 100 in this row going along, and then I would have 100 rows to make the square. So therefore I would have 10,000 square centimetres.
What if you were to put on the other 100 centimetres square? Would that then make it centimetres?
Say that again, sorry.
If you were to put a centimetre square on the other 100 and the sum, would that make it centimetres?
Well, that's why we have to think of it in the right way, don't we? That's why you're saying centimetre squared.
No, if you put it on.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You're saying centimetre squared. Therefore, you're thinking of it as I have to square something.
Squared something.
But then it doesn't make sense, does it? Why would you put them together to make
No, on the.
this? But why would I? This is what I was saying.
I've
got 100 square centimetres, and I need 100 of them. Another 100 lots of it. So why would I put another 100 square centimetre on it? Why would I?
I can't remember, but I think they said that it would make your answer.
No, it wouldn't.
About
I know what you're saying. If you've got 100 square centimetres multiplied by 100 square centimetres, but for me that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But if I said I've got 100 square centimetres, that would be that top row. I have 100 of them. And how many of those rows do I need? 100. So I need 100 lots of. I could write it like this instead: 100 lots of 100 square centimetres. Do it the other way round. But it doesn't make any sense to have 2 lots of the square centimetre notation, does it?
Because I thought they said, like last time I did the area, I thought they said something about if you couldn't put the 2 because otherwise it was going to answer to centimetres.
Well, what some people do, so a mistake, alright, some people write this.
Oh, I see.
100 squared centimetres. Okay? I know you're looking at me like, why would you? But that's good, because that means you're not going to do it. Some people do, because they don't really understand properly. So what we've got to be very sure that we know what we're doing. So we know full well, let me choose the right colour, that we are doing this bit, isn't it? Right? So we've got 100 lots of 100 square centimetres. So the first bit here, I would say this bit, 100 square centimetres, is all of these. So if I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, I'm not going to keep going, am I? But I would have how many in a line? 100. And then I have to have down this side as well. But imagine each one is a row, and each row has 100 in it. So I have 100 lots of 100 square centimetres. All right, make sense?
Yeah.
So let's go back to the where it's suddenly going. Okay, we understand. So how many are there? Meters into centimeters square. Square meters, square centimeters. So we multiply by what? Not 100, is it? 10,000.
Because you're getting more centimeters.
Now it might help you to think, instead of thinking of it as 10,000, you actually think of it as 100 lots of 100. Yeah? Back to that diagram we did before. How many centimetres? 100 lots of 100.
So we should. So to break it down a bit.
Well, why I'm saying that is because actually what you then end up with is this. What's another way of writing 100 lots of 100?
100 square.
100 squared. Okay?
But I don't understand like how from meters to centimeters is.
Well, how many? If I have.
Because you have the length and the width. Yeah.
Exactly. So what we're saying is, I don't know whether you've noticed, but to go from meters to centimeters is times, just meters to centimeters is times what? 100. To go from meters squared to centimeters squared, it's times,
10,000.
but 100 squared.
So just squaring the number that.
Exactly. So if you take that, so centimeters to millimeters is times 10. But centimetres squared to millimetres squared is times 10 squared, which is times 100.
Oh. Oh my gosh. I get it.
Kilometres to metres is times 1,000, but square kilometres to square metres is times 1,000 squared, which is times 1,000,000. Okay, so this is the link. Is this little thing, the squared. You can remember it. All right.
So that's just. But it's just types that.
So all you actually have to remember are the things from the lengths. Because do you remember the lengths? Millimeters and centimeters was times 10. The length was times 10, but the area is times, because area has squared, we times 10 squared. Okay? Alright?
Yeah, is the dividing the same?
Dividing is the same. Good question.
Dividing is the same.
Dividing is the same. So divide by 10 squared, divided by 100 squared, divided by 1,000 squared. Okay. So is that the 2 that's important there? Take the same numbers as for length, but square them.
Height, the same thing.
It depends, doesn't it? length and width and height does depend on what you're looking at. So go on, Imogen.
But so this isn't like that amazing, but you know how you said like inches, feet, yards, and miles are like just random? kind
Yeah.
of? So aren't ounces kind of random?
Yeah. So again, it's the imperial.
Yeah, but how they? Okay, so inches were hand. How do they decide?
Well, I don't know.
It's like
Maybe.
as much as I can hold in my hands.
Maybe something worth looking up with your history teacher. Maybe ounces was the weight of something that they used regularly. Of a cow.
I don't know.
Of a cow.
Right, I'm just going to talk 3 dimensions. You don't need to worry about this too much at the moment, but I thought while we're there, we might as well touch on it. So, for instance, no, don't write it. Here's it's diagonal, but I'm trying to draw in 3 dimensions. That is 1 meter, but it's coming out of the page. Can you visualize that? So it's 1 meter. So if I turn it into a square meter, so a square meter, like lying flat on the floor.
Oh yeah, I can.
Okay, now.
Okay, you got it?
Okay, kinda.
So how many little square centimeters in it?
I can see.
10,000.
So there are 10,000 little square centimeters in this square meter.
What about?
Make sense?
Yeah.
Right. Well, if we then go to volume, which is in 3 dimensions, what we then do, so we take it from the flat 2 dimensions and we go up a meter. Okay? So every side, I know it doesn't look very.
I got it. I got it. Now
It looks pretty.
That's
So it's a cube. So
You missed
my.
Yeah, you missed it.
Oh yeah.
at the back.
Yeah? You want that drawn in as well, do you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do
Look
it.
better.
nice.
Looks
Good.
incomplete.
Why did you put a dot
So that you know you can see it.
It's at the back.
Well, you can't see the 2 red
I know. I'm just being fussy. Right, now what about then? So my square centimetre that's on the floor becomes a what to measure volume? A cube. So we have to go up there as well. So imagine my, okay, my cubic centimetre.
Oh, great.
How many of them do you imagine would fill up a cubic meter?
10,000. Is it 100?
Yes, she's got it straight away. Remember what I said? Centimeters and meters are related by, if you want to know how many centimeters in a meter, you multiply by 100. If you want to go to, so that's length. If you want to go to area, which is what we taught, so centimeters squared to meter squared, you multiply by 100 squared. So in volume, in 3 dimensions, if I want to know centimeter, again I'm saying it, aren't I? You said cubic centimeter.
100.
From cubic meters, you multiply by
100.
100 cubes.
Or
Oh,
what if it's called
Brilliant.
so like so then it would be like if there's like 5. What's 5th dimension? It starts to get into like
The 4th dimension, you look at hypercube. You remember doing?
I have no
Oh,
idea.
Do you not remember watching? Did we watch that video? What's it called again? Flatland.
No.
Seen Flatland.
Can we see
I've
it?
seen it.
Some of you have.
I've never seen it.
What's
It's
that?
really good. There's a really good joke in it.
Right. Okay. So what we need to do,
We'll have to go.
ladies, come on, back to it. I've got evidence that you're chatting. Okay. What? Just going back, this volume thing, you can see how easy it is, isn't it? Volume, just multiply by 100 cubed or multiply by 10 cubed. All you actually need to remember is the length ones and how you go from one to the next. But what you're going to do today, like we did with length, you are going to just do some conversions, but of area. Okay. So, you got your. What page were we on last time?
270.
Pardon?
231.
231, were we?
That was your homework. Connor, homework for the picture on my house.
Now,
230 was the pizza.
It was 231.
I would like it. We're going to skip a bit. We're coming back to perimeter, right? We're just going to do this area. I would like you to have a look at page 238. Okay?
Ooh, it's a half. What's a half?
Now, there's one unit in here that I've not mentioned. Okay? It's a HA, which is,
Half.
it's called, anyone into farming and horses and
Hay.
Harvest.
Hay.
Hen.
Ham.
hectare.
No, you should have let us all guess.
You were never going to get that.
Harvest.
So you can see how there's an extra one splitting. Now the reason why there's that one is because a square kilometre is huge,
It is massive.
and a square metre is not that big. And people's gardens fall somewhere in between. So you would measure a house. I'm sure you've heard it. How big is a house or an apartment? And people say, oh, it's 100 square meters, something like that.
Never heard of it.
Right? Your garden, right?
Hectare. Mostly it's
Wait,
square.
how's that?
So your gardens are not big enough to be a square kilometre, because that's huge, and they're too big to be considered counted in square metres. You could, but
it's
some of
like,
you, it's like, they needed somewhere in between, especially, don't forget yards and things like that, they're the old imperial units. They don't match with these ones.
American
Just to say, and I know I've mentioned this, so please don't start an argument about it. It did say certain countries still use the old imperial, like American system is still miles, you've got miles an hour and all that kind of stuff, and we would use yards and feet and all. I think you watch American fighting, sorry, they call it football. So they have yards and things like that. But and actually in proper football, which you call soccer, we have the 6 yard line, the 6 yard penalty spot, the 6 yard box, the 18-yard box. So people still use it, but generally, like French system, the SI units, scientists all over will use the metric system. Okay. Now it's weird because I now, having lived in Switzerland for a while, I understand more meters and kilometers and things, but when I first got there I did everything in miles. But I still, for my car, look at fuel consumption in miles per gallon, and I don't understand kilometers per 100 litres or something. It just doesn't make sense to me. I can work it out, but I'm not used to it. Okay, so you had a question, Sarah, or a statement. Go on then.
An American football is exactly
Is that what it is as well? American football is a foot long. There you go. There's your foot. That's why it's called football then, because it's nothing to do with your feet. There you go.
There is something to do with it because you have to kick it together.
Oh, yeah, you have to get a Yeah, and how many are we doing? Just question
It's like a
one?
bacon picture.
2 and 3 and 4.
1, 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, let me see point 2.
Victorious.
Wait,
For